Aloha y'all, Daniel Aaron here, your guide to vibrant living. And this is the true story of the worst guru experience I've ever encountered. Now, I know there are some people on the spiritual path who have found their guru, right? Meaning that they have connected with some other being and they have had a very kind of singular relationship with them, which has been very positive, resulting in positive transformation, we'll call it that way. Maybe awakening of some sort, or of a lot of sort, maybe big awakening. Some people really seem to have, some spiritual aspirants really seem to have the karma for a single guru awakening. There are others, however, who don't do it that way, who don't have allegiance to one, who awaken through other paths or through many teachers. Now, there are some on either side that say, this is the way it should be, this is the way it should be, you can't do it this way, you can't. I don't think so. My experience, my observation, and I'm going on 30 years now of my own ruthless personal and spiritual development, a lot of research, a lot of learning, having been with a lot of teachers and gurus, having seen a lot, is that there's no one way. Everybody awakens differently. As Rumi put it, there are 1,000 ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Now, while I've never been one for a single guru, there have been many teachers in my life to whom I've been extremely devoted, very attentive. I even arranged my life to be around them consistently, at their feet, so to speak. Now, some years ago, not that many years ago, 6 years I believe, I was at a really low point in my life. I had somewhat overnight lost my income, country of residence, marriage, blended family, what else? All my stuff, and for my daughter, the worst, our dog. And even though I knew better in my head, I'd also lost my confidence. And I was at a real low point. At that point, a friend introduced me to her guru. And this was a guru who was, how do we want to say, hard to get to, scarce, in demand. Many people were not able to access her. And yet, somehow, my friend's introduction and then a little bit of meeting me, somehow I was whisked into her inner circle, right? Which everybody around was surprised about, considered a great honor. I was grateful for it. I was like, I'm happy for some help. I'm feeling pretty rough over here. And for a little while there, she really poured herself into me. No money, didn't ask me for anything. Worked with me with astrology, psychic readings, one-on-one conversations, welcomed me into her inner circle group. I was feeling really blessed and honored. Then there came a virtual retreat. It was like a 2-day thing. And on this virtual retreat, it was, this was, 5-6 years ago, early days of virtual events. And it meant there were, 10, 12 of us maybe around the world meeting basically for a whole full day. And it was kind of like you would do with a transformational event where the guru teaches, leads, speaks, works with people. What I would call now, what I do a lot of is one-on-one coaching in a group context. So people sharing, asking questions, bringing up their challenges, their issues, getting support, having breakthroughs, awakenings, that kind of thing can be beautiful, right? It's been a huge part of my life. Well, in this particular event, we were, second half of the first day maybe not even quite there yet. And, we had some version of putting our name in the queue to say, me, I want help. So I did that. She called on me and I shared quite vulnerably that I was having some problems some of which was I was finding myself being judgmental. So she said, well, judgmental of what? And I said, well, other people in this group, you, the way you are working with them. Now, of course, I didn't mean that to be insulting. I knew, and I thought it was obvious in my question, that if I'm being judgmental, obviously that's me with my issues, right? I'm projecting that. As they say sometimes, if you're pointing the finger out, well, 3 are pointing back at you. So I was aware of that, and I was genuinely asking for help. Like, I don't want to be in those yucky feelings of judgment. Well, her response was, that's it, man, you're out of here. And quite literally kicked me out of the group. I was devastated. It was, I was so vulnerable at that point in my life, and connecting with her, and it had been going on for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, had provided this like ray of light and hope for me. I was staying at a friend's house in New Hampshire. My friend was away for the weekend. I didn't know anybody else around there. My daughter was on a trip with her mother at the time. And suddenly I was like shut out from the virtual meetings. I was so devastated. And I did the equivalent of going and sitting at the guru's front steps. I left messages and I reached out to other people, and I kept thinking there must be a mistake, I'd seen and heard about this pure love from this guru, that at some point she was going to say, okay, well, that was your test and now you're welcome back. But no, never heard another word. And of course, the sign of progress for all of us is not so much what happens from the outside. It's what can I take from this? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And it was really hard. And, of course, what I realized is I need to find my own light again in myself and not from her, and to be okay with being shut out. Now, I don't condone necessarily what she did or aspire to that in my own work with other people, right? I always want people to be able to point to me and say, hey, you're not doing that well, and for me to have a dialogue with them about that. I always want, when I'm leading whatever group or program it is, to welcome what everybody brings, as long as it's not harmful to other people, right? And even then, it's to reframe it or work with it or figure out how we can work together. So, one of the greatest lessons for me as a teacher and a coach over these many years is every intention, everything everybody brings has a positive side to it, a positive intention. And as a teacher, even the students that are sort of most troublesome or resistant, well, that's just an opportunity for me to find a way to serve them, to help them, right? To help us all awaken. In any case, I feel a little somber now because just remembering that it was a really rough time, and not the best, I think, example of guru-ness ever. And I emerged from it a stronger, brighter person. So ultimately, it did bring me light. Ultimately, it did help me realize more of who I am. Sometimes the lessons are challenging. All right, I am so curious how that lands for you. Have you had experiences like this? Do you think I misinterpreted it in some way? What would you have done if you were in her shoes, or what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let's chat. Put your comment below and I would love to read it. And if you find this interesting, useful, please like it, subscribe, share. Let's create more conscious light in the world. Let's create more vibrant beings in the world. Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. Aloha.